it to just get the body motion, and then we'll do a second pass with the cameras.
The scene's playing back on an overhead projector, but it's also playing back on a monitor that's attached to my rig.
Sean and I would go to the stage and motion capture the camera filming the scene, and so he would get a whole wide shot, a whole close-up for the whole scene.
You know, you can change your lenses, you can use your standard 35, 85, 50s, whatever, all that sort of live action camera cinematography, you can apply it on stage.
We make sure to go back in and add flaws.
We keep the confinements of the room so the camera can't go past a certain wall, because then we have this cheated perspective. If the cameraman bumps into the wall, we keep it. You know, missing focus hits when you're pulling focus, going too close to a character and reframing, those little moments in there. It kind of keeps it very cinema verite.
If everything was too perfect, you wouldn't be able to put your finger on it, but you'd be able to feel it. It would just feel off.
It's very much about grounding it, despite having, you know, the option to do whatever we want.
Being able to place the cameras anywhere we want after the motion capture gives us both advantages and disadvantages. The biggest advantage is it means that we just have to nail the best performances we can get, and the luxury is that we can always swap it.
The 3D world gives you limitless opportunities with cameras and movements, exposures, all that stuff. Most of these cameras are sort of set up like real world cameras. So we have lens, we have f-stop that will create the depth of field. We have aperture to, you know, set our film back and all that stuff. You know, master, and then I have my close-ups, my over the shoulders, sort of just like a live action production. Let's go to camera 30 at the 23.458. Then I get that kind of weird, you know, bend across his back. The closer I bring the camera, the more bend I get, which is, you know, doesn't look right. It doesn't look as, it looks less cinematic than if I do that, which flattens the whole thing. And I'm trying to also catch Ellie. Like if you scrub a little more, you know, catch her in the back here. So I want a longer lens and that kind of stuff.
Since I've only had experience working with live action before I got into video games, it was a kind of a cool adjustment to be able to have this extra flexibility in post, to swap a line of dialogue for something different, even though that's not what the actor said at that time, and to be able to still have a close-up on them while they said it. You get to make it probably more perfect than you could ever make it in live action.
How far are we gonna take
as far as it needs to go. Where was this lab of theirs?
Because our actors are both the voice and their body, they get to play, they get to try things, they get to work with our director to kind of come up with new ideas, or even our director will have a new idea on the spot that wasn't there in the script, but realizing when he sees it, oh, well, this would actually be better, this might feel better, and those changes all just happened organically there on the set.
He could even lead straight into his thing. It's like, no shit, yeah, Tyler wanted to do that, so we rented 2 Harleys and drove cross country.
Keep it pretty succinct, like we got the bikes, rode them cross country. Cool.
It's shocking to me that this is Neil's first time directing.
There was a specific tone and a specific approach that Neil and Bruce wanted to take with this. It just came down to, there's nobody knows this story better than you, and then there's nobody that knows these characters better than you. Why don't you just do this?
He and I actually had a conversation about it. He says, I think I'm gonna try this myself, and I'm not sure. Neil was fantastic.
The floor is yours. Okay, so remember, you've been running away from this turret-mounted truck. If you come to this dead end, you're going to look up and see a potential way out. And action.
Check it out.
I mean, his writing is honest, and it's dangerous, and it's natural.
And I love his economy of words. He doesn't hit everything on the nose, so it leaves it open for you to interpret and bring some nuances and things like that.
The entire process is collaborative, but really it's led by Neil's willingness to change and flow and decide something doesn't work, you know, fix it right there in the moment. And it is something that's very foreign to the way that TV and film is done now, where everything has been micromanaged by the time you get it to the table read, and no one wants you to change anything, and everything's very precious and has been rewritten with notes from 20 people in suits, and you can't do that just anywhere in entertainment these days.
Yeah, I want to make sure. I think I swung too far over to this way, and now it's a little bit of making jokes about it, and I need to bring it back to center a little bit.
There's one scene in the game where we see Joel not as a ruthless survivor, but as a father. I knew from the very beginning that he was going to lose his daughter. And I just told Neil, I was like, when that day comes for us to shoot that, I need a heads up. About a week before, he said, it's time. We're going to do that scene. I was like, okay. Because I knew that I was going to have to go to this place that you don't really want to go to as an actor. You want to find some aspect of reality that you can empathetically draw from, you know?
Troy and I were both kind of just like walking around for a while and just kind of getting into the zone. And well, my grandpa died when I was 8. He was like my dad, and so that's always what I use to get into that place.
You know, I started recalling all those memories and starting pulling up all those feelings, and they're just right underneath the surface. When I walked back in, everyone realized that something was different. They kind of like calmed down, you know.
You could feel the energy just like drop a little bit more.
It was brutal.
I lose my shit. I mean, just completely break down.
Don't do this, please, God, no. Oh, God, no.
The soundstage was deathly still.
That was the first take, and I felt really good about it. And it's like Neil said, okay, let's do it again. And so you do it again, and automatically you feel like you're manufacturing because you're trying to go back to that place, and you're in that actor nightmare of trying to get back to that reality. And we go through it again in 5th and 6th and 7th take, and I'm just exhausted. I'm crying between takes, and I'm looking at Neil going, this is really, really hard. And finally, after like the 8th or 9th take, he said, all right, I think we got it. I was like, oh, thank God. And I went outside, and I was just jacked up for the rest of the day. Just I mean, a wreck emotionally. But we got it. Then 2 weeks later, he calls me. And he says, so we need to reshoot a scene. I'm like, cool, what scene are we doing? And he just looks at me. I said, dude, don't do this to me.
And you can either at that moment throw your hands up in the air and say, fuck this, and walk away. Or you can say, okay, this is an opportunity to get it more right.
I'm like, okay, all right. If you don't think you got it, I'm going to show you that you got it. We've got it in the can. And so we go through it again, and it just feels fake. It feels artificial. And Neil goes, go through it again. We start doing it again. And I'm getting madder and madder with each take. And finally, about the 4th take, Neil comes over to me, and I love him so much. He goes, so I'm picking up on some resistance. I was like, you're damn right you're picking up on some resistance. We've got this in the can already, and we're just wasting our time, and we're wasting all this effort and energy. And then he started talking me through the scene. And he was like, what I need you to do is I need you to just strip yourself of all these ideas, and I need you to hit this beat, and this beat, and this beat, and this beat, which just makes it sound so mechanical, and it's such an emotional scene. So we start going through it, and literally I am mindlessly doing these things at this point.
Okay? I know it hurts, baby. I know. So I'm gonna lift you up. I'm gonna get you over here. Come on, baby. Come on, work with me, please. God. Baby. Sarah. Sarah! Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on.
And he stops, he goes, now we got it. And I realized that the reason why I wanted that first take to work was because I wanted everyone to look at me and go, wow, what an actor. And that's not what the scene needed.
Those moments where you just have to sort of calm your ego down and just go back and do your work.
That scene actually works, not because of me, but in spite of me. And that really is the marker and definition of working with a truly good director.
There are many like it, but this one is yours. Why don't you have a seat?
Thanks, guys.
Director's chair.
Working on the project, we knew we wanted to have a pretty minimalist soundtrack. And we had a folder where we just throw music in there. Looked at the folder one day and we saw, we have a lot of stuff here from Gustavo Santaolalla. We're looking for a composer. What if we reached out to him?
Oh, no. Sarah. Move your hands, baby. I know, baby, I know. Listen, baby, I know this one. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I love her.